Hello, as you can see, this map is different. As you can see, there's weird things. So if I color it in like here, you can see it doesn't completely color it in. So that's mainly why I can't completely continue Project Overload. Also because lost the province map. Anyways, this is the first episode in the What If series for Project Overload, or like the short series. I never gave these guys a capital, but it won't matter. Because the first one is, what if the Balkans united? One sec, let me just fix these little borders, like just... Anyways, essentially what each video is going to be like, so like with my previous videos I did like, what if the Balkans united, like the real life Balkans? So it's going to kind of be like that, but obviously it's going to be Project Overload Wixo, and not real life. No, I'd say that it doesn't really matter with the borders. Sorry this is taking so long. Okay, done. Oh, forgot to do the Greek border. Anyways, this nation is going... What the hell? This is going to be a dual monarchy, with the capitals being in... also, whenever a nation falls, I will replace their capital with a regular city. Actually, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to keep it like this. And the first thing you see is there's a few stranded colonies like that don't have a ruler anymore. Where some nations decide to just take them. So first of all, over here, no, wrong one. Over here, the Irish and the Syrians split this colony. Over here, this entire colony goes to green team. And down here, it goes to the Russians. No, what about over here? This goes over to Poland. Anyways, first thing that happens is an invasion of the nation of Naples. That doesn't go very well for Naples, they just instantly get taken. And then there is an invasion of their neighbours of Slovenia, Bavaria, other Bavaria, and this country. They start by invading up to here, invading here, no, invading here, invading here, and actually splitting them in half, and then having this area full. And also invade... Why is this considered... It's pink! Anyways, and also invading into here. I'd say that this nation, it had like a top 10 power. It had a top 10 power, and it had a former top 10 power, so this is a pretty decently strong country. Eventually, this nation just falls as well as this nation, these guys fall, and eventually these guys end up surrendering. And a peace treaty, yeah, full annexation. These guys also just choose to unite, because they would get steamrolled in an invasion. Anyways, we see an alliance get made between the Balkan Union, Ukraine, and the French to carve up Europe. And also, like, the previous alliances, like the hexagonal team, pentagonal team, all those, they are gone. Anyways, first thing we see is the division of the the Italian peninsula. Both French and Balkan troops go into the red team, eventually just instantly take the capital, because this thing again, because this is not a very strong nation. So eventually they fall, and then the rest falls. I forgot to change the color. Just the rest of the nation falls. Sicily is taken, and then just the rest falls. And in a peace treaty, we see all of this land going over to them. No. All of this land going to them. The French gaining Corsica. And then just what's it called? Oh yeah, Sardinia just existing. Anyways, up here we see triangle team forces. Just like, this nation is not a very, like, politically stable nation, so they just fall apart as second troops roll in, and then just, yeah, they're gone. So we see Belgium not last very long. Now, as you can see, the Danish are there. Very scary. Well, not very scary. They are very scared. So we see them actually form the Square Alliance. And it is formed with them, the Polish, and Crimea. Anyways, goodbye, Tri-Point. Yeah, there's no way they're gonna last very long. They launch an invasion into these two nations, where this nation is actually a revolt from this nation. They were originally a nation, so I gave them back their colour. Anyways, they get split in half, and then just, yeah, this southern area has a lot of seas, so they are basically, these guys are a lot more powerful. And then these guys get split in half, this area falling, then all the southern area falls, and then the rest goes to these guys. And then we see the Balkans do full annexation of the Anatolian Peninsula. Now this thing is pretty scary. It spans all of the Balkans, no, basically just all of Eastern Europe and Turkey. Anyways, we see an invasion of the Nordics happen. Oh, no, sorry. The Nordics and Ukraine both split Leningrad in half. Them just, yeah, they don't survive very long. Leningrad is not a very strong nation after World War II, because like, they are dead. They had like all of this land, and I think like a lot of up here. Well, then they just lost all of it. Anyways, over here, a naval landing takes place. These guys are getting killed. Eventually, a spearhead is made, and eventually, don't know how it's this good. These guys just have a lot of troops. Eventually, they get split in half. Southern area falling. Then French troops roll in, and they take the rest. Now, these guys take the rest. Now we see two nations, two very strong nations, both joined the Square Alliance. Those being the Nordic Union and Ireland. And as you can see, three of four nations who have control over the red team are in the Square Alliance. Which means that 3/4 of the red team are a part of one nation. No, 3/4 of the nation are going to be different than the remaining quarter. And they don't like it. And we see something surprising happen. A rebellion starts in the Polish part of the red team and in the Irish part of the red team. And then we see the red team join in on the triangle team, starting what I'm going to consider a shortened version of World War IV. Troops go, like, they start rushing in, but like, if these guys get control over the Netherlands, they are not going to do very good. Like, this area, no. This area falls. And then eventually these guys secure control over. Let me just turn off the alliances for a sec. Gain control over basically all of modern day Germany. Eventually the rebellion spreads to the Nordic one, and eventually all of the Nordic Union and Ireland are kicked out of the red team, and the red team begins invading into the Nordic Union. Eventually these guys just realize that, like, the Square team realizes they probably aren't going to win this, so they sue for peace, and that's what they get. Now let me quickly just make every invaded area white. Here, here, and here. World War IV was surprisingly stopped quite quickly. So anyways, the French gained the Balkans gained this land, and the French gained this land and incorporate their part of the Red Team into like actual France. Poland has to give over their part of the Red Team, and the Red Team also gets a tiny bit of France. The Red Team gains all of the Nordic lands that they invaded, and surprisingly they gain Copenhagen. Oh, and over here, yeah, they just didn't really want to do anything. But Ukraine does quickly just invade them and take them. So this is where what I think would happen if the Balkans did end up uniting. Obviously there is a chance that this wouldn't happen, and like I'd say that giant coalition would be made like between like Russia, this nation, Ukraine, like all their bordering neighbors. I'd say instead of having their colonies be taken, I'd say that they'd be like a government in exile for Thrice. No, yeah, for Thrice. So there is a high chance that none of this would happen. However, again, it is A, my series, and B, my scenario. So literally anything could happen. Like, I could take control of this nation and take over the world, for example, but obviously I did try and make this somewhat realistic, like to what I think would happen, but also like so giant coalition doesn't happen and just this gets taken over by the rest of Europe. But obviously this is what I thought would happen, so goodbye.